Hey guys, welcome back. So there's a chicken running towards me. My first goose egg has pipped. I noticed it last night. I've had them in the incubator for 30 days now. This is not what we want. Hi. I can't carry all of you. All right. Come on. Oh, good girl. Maybe I can. So yeah, they've been in the incubator for 30 days today. I noticed the pip last night, so rather than obsessively watch while nothing is currently happening and I have to fight all my instincts to do nothing and leave it all alone, so I've come out here and I'm going to try and keep busy. My productivity has definitely slowed in the last week because I've had germs. I've been feeling sorry for myself. I've done some bits and bobs, but I've not been quite as active as I was hoping for. But you know, these things happen. And you belong back in there. Oh. Hello ladies. So we've moved their pen around a few times. It looks really small at the moment, but that's because it's so long to bring them down here. I've ordered some more poles. We've got spare netting, but we just ran out of poles. So I've ordered some more so that we can extend it along this whole line here. And give these guys a bit more space. Got some eggshells with some leftover pasta in here. So, there you go. Oh, a bit of sunshine. It's good for the soul. So to catch you up, other than goose eggs, which is what I'm currently obsessing over, I'll try and talk about something else. I have finished filling up my herb spiral here, and I've laid out the herbs that I've already got. So these are things that I already started from seed last year: the thyme, the marjoram, the rosemary, the sage and the oregano, and that's why they're already nice and established. I've got some basil, some coriander, some parsley, some dill, some tarragon and some chives, all on the go from seed, but they were just a bit too small to be putting out here. But I figure I'll get these planted up and then just leave the space for the other bits and bobs to come in. And then I'll see how I'm doing on space in here. Oh, hello. You alright there? I'll leave you in peace. She's sat on the main box. I'll leave her in peace and come back in a bit and get the rest of the eggs. We have been getting a consistent 10 or 11 eggs a day and fallen behind a little bit because I've not been doing a whole load of cooking. I've just been eating already canned soups and things like that while I've not been very well. We've got some friends coming, so I'll offload them with a few dozen and we'll catch back up. Now I've just been busy while I've been sick, putting this gate in here with a view to, in a few weeks' time, there'll be geese coming out here and they'll be free ranging in that field behind that gate, and then we can choose to open it and let them in here or not, depending on the situation. I'd like to do a slow introduction of the geese to the chickens and see how they do. It really is just springing into life and I just can't wait. I can't wait for it to all be, you know, green and fabulous. These are my, I think, red currants. Red currants or juster berries. I don't remember which of these is which. Look at those. You love having elderberry bushes because they just start so early and they look so bloody fabulous. Yeah, it's all coming along. I have been through here and just planted up some bits and bobs, and I'll catch you up at some point on how it's going out here, but I'll maybe give it another week for everything that's just starting to put on some growth now to look a little bit more alive before I do. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good season out here. Even the gooseberries are starting to show signs of life as well, which is really nice. Just starting to come to life. Feels like we're on the brink of spring now. Our 10-day forecast has nothing below 6 degrees Celsius, so it really is quite mild at the moment. Strawberries that I planted in this bed are coming along. I don't think, we're not out of the woods. It's not like we couldn't get another bit of cold. Of course we could. Our last frost last year, I looked it up in my journal from last year. It was the 26th of March. We're on to the 18th now, I think, when I'm filming this. Rhubarb is really trying to live. Looks fabulous. So we're by no means out of the woods, but I am enjoying this mild weather. It has been so wet and so glum, but today, as you can probably see, sun is out. I'm just gonna take it relatively easy, but hopefully spend most of the day out here getting some bits and bobs done. Bloody balmy in here. Right, so welcome to my tiny pop-up greenhouse. I'll shut this just so down around. So, as you may be able to see, it's quite empty in here. That's because anytime I put something on these top shelves where you can't get this covered taut, it's just knocking everything off. So this has gone off a few times already, and that's why there's a load of dirt on the floor. So I'm avoiding putting anything up top. If I put anything on the ground, then it gets eaten by slugs. So everything is on the middle shelves in here as much as possible. This side's a bit more protected. The wind comes across this way. It's looking a little bit empty in here because I had all the herbs on this shelf down here, which have either gone into that new bed at the top of the food forest here, or down in the herb spiral as we saw a second ago. So I freed up some space in here because that was my goal, is to create as much space in here as I can for about this time, so I can start sowing things in here. What's going on here? Oh, my heliopsis. So these all I started inside, and they've all been, I put them down on the floor because it was really windy and I didn't want this to get knocked and them to go over, and then the slugs ate them. And I got one solitary catmint that survived in here, so that's cool. And then I've got some just annual flowers in here, candy tuft, Godetia, straw flowers. I'd like to do some drying of some bits and bobs this year. Oh, this is my tarragon. You see why I haven't put that out yet? It's this size. The slugs did have a go at it, but there's a few surviving, and they turn into quite big perennial shrubs, so I'm not worried if there's only a few of those that make it. Then that's still going to be boatloads of tarragon. And I just got some peas that are ready to go out. I didn't want to put them out while we're having loads of wind because it has been quite miserable. So they've just stayed in here, but they are definitely ready to go out now. They may make it and they may not, depending on how strong the winds get over the next couple of weeks, but it's worth putting them out because they're not going to come to anything if I don't, so it's worth a go. Now, I do have some news. While I was indoors feeling sorry for myself on my birthday with germs, I bought myself a little birthday present. And by little, I mean it's a polytunnel. So that has completely changed my plans on what I'm going to be growing, and where my focus is going to be at this year. These greenhouses were not built for my conditions. I probably could have got away with it in my old garden. I lived in the city. I had like a walled terrace garden, and it was like a little sun trap, and it had no wind or anything. Whereas here I was so exposed. I got this up against the stables on this wall, so this is the most sheltered spot that I've got for one of these. And last year they still blew away. This one we managed to put back together, but it's never quite been the same. It's really loose, so it really, you can't pull this taut, and you really can't keep the wind off it. So while it's nice and warm in here and it works all the time, it's not too windy, it is not ideal, and it's not huge, so it's alright for seed starting, but you're not going to get many plants in here once you get past this stage. So I'm going to show you where my polytunnel's going to go. It was a bit of an impulsive one, but hey ho, what's done is done. It will hopefully be coming this week. As I've mentioned, we get a lot of wind here. I've tried to put it in a more sheltered spot, but we are going to have to do some serious work in securing it so that it doesn't fly away. So if you look, we've just come out of the stables there. This is all my gardens. This is the brassica cage that we built last year, and this is where my polytunnel is going to go. So we laid down this black plastic once we decided where to put it, and just trying. I'm probably going to end up dig bed in the ground here inside the polytunnel, but I've just laid the plastic on to get a little head start. We're trying to smother some of the grass that's under here, so it hopefully will have a little bit of a windbreak from the hedgerow behind it, but as I say, we're going to do a lot of work in securing it. While I usually like to be a cheap and cheerful person with my purchases, I've taken it a bit more seriously here, because I know that with those, having learnt the lesson from the little greenhouses, cheap and cheerful when it comes to big sale-like bits of plastic that I'm going to put on this land, it's just, you know, if it's only the last couple of weeks, it's not cheap and cheerful, it's just cheap and very depressing. So now, knowing that I am going to have a good sized polytunnel to plant in has obviously changed my plans on what I'm going to be growing. There are some things that it's just, while I would have grown more peppers and things, there's no point starting them now, I don't think. It's a bit late, so I'll just work with what I've got on those. But I wasn't planning on doing a lot of tomatoes, because after last year we got a lot of blight. I gave a lot of space to tomatoes, which on reflection, you know, I live in a very, very wet place. It's very humid, and trying to keep blight off of tomatoes outside is always going to be a struggle. So I got a pack of blight resistant seeds this year, and I was just going to put a few plants out just so that we had a few, you know, for fresh eating. But now that I've got the tunnel and I've got a load of seeds just from previous years, and my friends and family all know that I like to garden now, so for Christmas I got a few, like, you know, multi-pack sets of like gift packs of seeds, and they always have a few tomatoes in them, so I've got more tomato seeds in now. I know what to do with. Even now I've got a polytunnel on the way, so we'll put a few more in. I think there's still time for that. You know, with the protection of a tunnel, our season is quite long. As I say, our last frost was in at the end of March. Our first frost is probably going to be somewhere near mid-November. I also going to do some more cucumbers, because I love cucumbers. They didn't do well outdoors at all here last year. I didn't have the windbreaks in place, and I didn't have the greenhouse, so I was going to grow a couple in the plastic greenhouse, but just as they put on their first flower, the greenhouse flew away, and they died again. So I just had so many rounds of cucumber death last year that I just nixed it and gave up. So I like the chance to grow some cucumbers again, because I really, really love them. So I'm super excited, but that does just mean now everything's changed a little bit, and I've got a load to do. I've promised Nigel I won't buy any more seeds, so anything extra that's going to go in there is going to have to come from my existing seed supply, and I'll just take this year to sort of learn how to garden in a polytunnel. I've never done it before. I had a glass greenhouse in our old house, and everything was in pots, and I grew a few hot peppers and a few cucumbers and some basil and things like that in there, but it was, you know, it was as small as this little plastic one that I've got now, so it was lovely to have, but I just did bits and bobs. Whereas this polytunnel will be in ground beds, so I'm sure there'll be a learning curve on that as well. So I'll take this year to learn with the seeds that I've got, and then make plans for where we go from there. So all very exciting. Hopefully within the next week I will have some goose eggs that have hatched, and I'll have had a polytunnel delivered that we are going to have to try and put up. So lots to keep you updated on. Sorry it's been quiet, but as I say, I've just not been very well, and I've just been doing what I can as and when I can. So what I'm going to do now is go and plant those herbs into that herb spiral. I think I've just got like bits and bobs of herbs all over the place to try and sort of collate what I've got and plant out what I want to get planted out. And then I'm going to take stock and see what else I need to get started, because we are getting to that point now of seed starting en masse. I kind of hate that I've become a take my clipboard out to my garden person, because I am not a paper and pen kind of person. I'm a millennial. I like to use technology, but I've decided this is actually just the best way, and I'm really enjoying this way of keeping organised. So basically what I'm doing is I went through my seeds in the winter, and I made a spreadsheet of everything I've got. I've printed them out, and I am literally just highlighting them as I sow the seeds. Anything that I want to sow more of like a succession, so I just sort of partially do. Maybe I should do it a different colour, but I'm just working on the system at the moment. And it's basically just got what varieties I've got, when to sow them indoors, when to direct sow them, you know, what temperature they want for germinating, the eventual spacing once they go out, and then any extra notes that I think are important, little harvesting notes and things like that. So I've done that for my veggies, for my flowers and for my herbs, just so I can keep track of what I've got done. Otherwise my boxes of seeds just, you know, they just become a mess, and I succession sow too many things to have them in like the month, and then I get confused about what I've done and what I haven't and things like that. So I don't know, I'll see how this little system goes and update it for next year, and just hopefully get a little bit better every time, especially with the addition of the polytunnel. That's both going to give me the extra covered space to grow things that I would otherwise struggle to out in the exposed conditions here, but that's also going to free up a load of space in my beds for the things that I would be trying anyway outside. So this year we're going hard, we're going serious, and I'm going to get on with things and stop sitting around. What I'm going to do is sow my first carrots of the year as well today. Carrots have been my absolute bloody nemesis, and I am determined to get some good carrots this year. So let's do it. The sun has gone in. It looks like it's about to rain, but that's all right. It can rain my carrot seeds in. So this bed is where I am going to put these seeds. This is all the celery from last year that's still there. It's a bit woody and overdone now, the celery, but it's really just keeping this ground covered and stopping anything else from going there. So I've just left it until I want the space. All I've done is pulled a few weeds out of here. There were a couple of docks growing and a couple of buttercups that have crept in. So I've gone over with the hoe, I've pulled out the roots of those nasty weeds, and then I've literally just run the rake over the top just to loosen up the top. I've not amended this bed at all from last year, so I'm just going to pop them in rows like this, just cover the seed over, water it in, and see how it goes. This is not the only way I'm going to try to do carrots this year. I think I'm going to do some in pots, and I think I'm going to do some, I've seen some people use like planks of wood over the top until they germinate, as a way to ensure that the seed stays moist long enough for them to germinate properly. I'll try some different ways as the season goes, but for today I just want to get these in there. So what I'm going to do is take these seeds. I've just kind of raked in a line here, so I am just going to run my finger down it so it's a nice obvious line, and then I'm just going to ever so gently sprinkle a line of these, I think quite thickly, because as I say, these are pretty old seeds, so I don't have loads of hope for this row going well, but I want to get these seeds used. There's more chance of them working if I actually sow them than if I just chuck them. So there we go, and then I'm literally just going to cover them over really thin, probably about 1 centimetre of soil over the top. And that's one row. And then I'm going to do the same. So that's one row, the furthest row of the nanchies. And then I'm going to do these ones. So I've just counted these. That pack had 6,000. The pack of Berlicum had 6,000 seeds in it. And it wasn't like a clip top baggy like that one. So I didn't want to bring the whole thing out here lest there be a disaster in the wind, so I've just decanted some into this little plastic tub, and then I'm just going to take a pinch and then just sprinkle them into this line like so, and then I'll do this row as well. So once the line is complete, I will just cover that over. That's 2 rows. Bring in a little closer. Just take a pinch and then just sprinkle them along here. and then just ever so gently cover them over. There we go. Pretty sure it's going to rain in less than 1 minute, but nonetheless, get those wood in. Okay, so I'm back out here at my herb spiral. I think this is the layout I'm going to go with. I've got a rosemary that was from seed last year in the top highest point, and next to it, this is a thyme that I grew from seed, and this is a sage that I grew from seed. And there's another thyme down there that doesn't look very happy. That came in a plant order, it was on sale, so I wasn't surprised that it wasn't looking too great, but I'm going to put it in and it's either going to live or it's going to die. This is a marjoram from seed last year, and this is oregano from seed last year. So this way is south, that way is north. So at the moment I don't have anything, I don't have any of these shadier liking things. So I'm just going to leave that space for now. I've also brought out a pot of chives that I had in my garden. They've been in that pot since we moved here, so I think they could probably use dividing, and I'll pop some in here and I'll take some back up to have outside the back door as well for those last minute ones. But it would be nice to give them some space in here to take over a little bit because they're quite constrained in that pot. They're pretty tight in there. I'd kind of forgotten about them since last summer, so yeah, we'll get some of those in here. The crows are driving my dog mental. Oh, he's getting his exercise. Right, I'm going to crack on and get these things all planted up, and we'll see how they go. As I say, I've got some other annual bits and bobs and some other perennial bits and bobs started from seed this year, so I'll fill this in as we go, and once it's full I'll sort of do a proper look around it and see how well it establishes over the next few months. Okay, so that's the herbs planted, some carrots sown, and I think I'm going to go back to watching my goose eggs hatch. So I will update you as soon as I have any news on either geese and or polytunnels. So thanks guys, I'll leave it there for now. Cheers.